The Supreme Court got it right. The most qualified person ought to get into Harvard, not the one of the color that Harvard says you should be. Good job, Supreme Court. The Supreme Court got something right. You know, these people.
Mm-hmm.
They just came down with a ruling just now striking down the use of racially discriminatory admissions policies at U.S. colleges. Affirmative action is over. And what had happened as a background is Asian students had sued Harvard, showing that they were incredibly overqualified. But Harvard said, we don't want any more Asians here. We got enough. So we don't care if your test scores and your recommendations and your extracurriculars and your GPA is so high. We're not going to let you in. We're going to make it better, it being Harvard. And it was also at the University of South Carolina. Those are the two schools involved in the decision, but it's going to affect all the schools in the country. I'm sorry, North Carolina. We're just going to pick based on color or sex or gender orientation. We're going to decide who gets in, not by the best students, but by the color or the sexuality or how they have sex. And we think that's a better system because we just don't want to have, that many Asians here.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court finally said, enough's enough. If you've got open admissions policies and you're saying that people have to meet the admissions policies, then stop lying to your public.
Yeah.
And this is a very, very big deal. Affirmative action is now dead. The dumbing down of American university admissions policies, at least, is over as of now.
Well, it's over on paper. Because we know that they're going to do it a different way, Barry. They're going to violate the law. They're going to violate the Constitution, some kind of way, some sort. They're already gearing up for it because they had to already been thinking like, okay, one day it's going to come because it is unconstitutional. So one day it is going to come for this diversity, equality that they're pushing. And let me say this, Barry, because I've had conversations with people in the past about when it comes to affirmative action. My complexion, Barry, is not a handicap. It's not a handicap. If I'm going to get a job and the person next to me happens to be white and that person studied more and applied themselves more, then that person should get the job, regardless of their complexion. Let me put it like this. You ever think about this when you're like on an airplane? You have an airplane pilot. You have two people. One is black, one is white. The white guy spent 18 hours a day studying for aviation. The black guy spent a couple hours because he's like, I just like aviation. Who are you going to get on the airplane with, Barry?
I want the best pilot. I don't care if he's red, white, or blue.
Exactly. That's what you want. You want the best pilot, the pilot that knows the controls, the aviation, knows how to get the plane up and down safely, not someone who's just interested. It's completely bizarre. 100% bizarre.
And yet, those hiring quotas are still in place at some airlines. I know we did the story a few months ago. I'm sure you remember where they were talking about we need more non-cisgender pilots.
We just talked about that. Yeah.
Because who you sleep with has something to do with whether or not you can fly that plane through an electrical storm.
Yeah, it has something to do if you can get it up or not. the plane.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood.
Where are you going?
I don't know. My apologies. That's totally on me. My bad. So, this is the same thing, Will. You want the best man, woman, whatever for the job when your life's at stake.
I mean, it's the same thing as a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but I am black. I can, okay, give me the scalpel. I mean, where do I cut?
Well, I remember a personal story when I was in college, and I had this friend who I was top of my class, and he was somewhere down in the lower third, and he was getting in everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And he was a real good friend of mine, and we used to hang out a lot. And I said, how'd you get into all these schools? I mean, you didn't even interview. You just sent in your application. And he goes, it's simple. I checked the box at the time, African American. He said, everybody said yes. He said, you know what you should do? And I said, what? He said, you should check Native American. And I go, but I'm not. He said, but say you are. They don't check. There's no way to know. They don't make you prove it, and you'll get in everywhere. And I thought about it, and I thought, I just don't want to live with that lie. I want to get in on my own merit.
So you're saying that you don't want to go in and be 1/10 of 1,004th of an American Indian?
No, that we've got a senator that did that,
and she had no problem with it.
No, and Elizabeth Warren ended up at Harvard.
Yeah.
On fake genetics.
Yeah.
That it turns out she's less Native American than you or me.
Yeah.
I mean, she's literally less than the average white person.
Shouldn't her lawyer license be revoked?
Because it's based on fraud. You're not allowed to lie when you get your license.
100% based on fraudulent information that she provided. They should be revoked. I don't know why they haven't done that. Well, I do know why.
You do.
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You're being rhetorical, and I agree with you. And it's upsetting, and you're right, but it's not right.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're supposed to do the right thing. And the case we just talked about, the Harvard case on admissions, where they ruled against Harvard, and the Supreme Court actually had a recusal. Justice Jackson, the newest member of the court, she did not participate because she had ties to Harvard. They're supposed to recuse themselves because they're not supposed to have a conflict of interest, even if it's an appearance of a conflict of interest. However, this is weird. Justice Kagan, who was the dean of Harvard Law School, who ran Harvard Law School, did not recuse herself and voted against the decision when she should not have. And nobody complained. She should have recused herself. It's legal ethics. I remember it from law school. Justice Jackson did the right thing. Who's not even in this picture, I'm noticing. She's missing. Oops. Sorry about that, y'all. I put up.
Yeah, this is an old picture.
Yeah, that's before Justice Jackson was put on the court. Sorry about that. But Justice Kagan, who's in the back row, should have recused herself and didn't, because she ran Harvard. And boy, talk about a conflict. So instead of recusing herself as she should have, not only did she not recuse herself, but she helped write the dissent. And that is not right. And legal scholars are all over her about that. And she should have, and she didn't. So even the highest court in the land, the Supreme Court, doesn't follow their own rules on legal ethics. Sad to say.
I will say this: since she didn't recuse herself, and of course the Democrats, the leftists, they're not going to complain that she didn't recuse herself. They should have the same stance if the judge overseeing President Trump's case doesn't recuse herself.
Well, yeah, she was appointed by President Trump, confirmed by the Senate. Yeah. And they're saying MSNBC has been running a relentless campaign to get her to quit.
Yep. Right? But they don't do it here. They don't do it here. It's okay when it's for their agenda. It's completely fine for the judge to to oversee it, right? It's completely okay because it's their agenda. But when it's the other way around, nope, nope, nope. Give us what we want.
100% true. You're right. Well, great show today. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I hope our audience is not too mad at us. Hopefully it'll be better next week.
They understand. They understand. It happens. You know what, Barry? If it didn't happen, there'd be something wrong.
Yeah, it seems like we're on the wrong side of somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.